no, I mean, I think for me it was just, you know,
Did you feel you got lucky?
I felt I got lucky that it wouldn't happen again, that I feared that I somehow just wasn't good enough, that I, you know, afraid that I would lose it, afraid that I would get it, afraid, you know. I mean, it doesn't matter what's going on in my life, I can find something to be afraid of. You know,
everyone can.
Absolutely. Yes. And I've realized that I have two choices in my life. I either have fear or I have faith. And, you know, if I have faith that I'm okay and that I'm on the right path and that, you know, things are unfolding exactly how they're supposed to be, then I'm fine. Then I have nothing to be afraid of. You know, it's those moments when I lose that faith and that security and that sort of groundedness that I start thinking that everything's going to fall apart. And that, you know, the Chicken Little, the sky is falling, you know, everything's going to go terribly wrong, when in fact, you know, all that's changed is my perception. All that's changed is what I'm focusing myself on. And when I kind of redirect my focus and sort of take a minute, meditate, get back to my centered self, you know, it's a much different experience, and I can view the world in a completely different way when nothing on the outside has changed. You know, I've realized, like, I can go throughout my day, the first half of the day I can just be terrified, and then I kind of have my moment, get grounded, and I go, okay, I can't do this. Nothing else has changed except where I'm viewing the world from, and then everything's fine, you know? And
yes.
I kind of go, oh, well, this is so silly. You know, I'm putting all of these fears out there, and that's all I'm seeing back, instead of, you know, trusting the process and looking at, you know, for all of the good things. And, you know, I can find those just as easily as I can find the things to be afraid of.
Absolutely, we all can. So when you focus on the positive, your life will be more positive, because we are our thoughts.
Yeah, so absolutely. Oh, yeah. I mean, I can get out of the shower
want.
And it's like, you know, I can look at myself in the mirror one day and be like, oh, this is just terribly disappointing. The next day I go, oh, I look pretty good. Nothing changed except how I view myself.
Yes.
So, you know, I that's a huge thing for me to remember, is that, you know, where I'm coming from, either faith or fear, really determines how my life is going to be, how my day is going to be.
What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Oh, my 18-year-old self. To my 18-year-old self, I would just say, slow down. Just slow down. Everything doesn't have to happen today. You know, probably till I was, you know, 28 or 29, I just felt like I was always missing something. You know, oh, I've got to be, you know, at this place, or talk to this person, or be with these friends, like I'm missing something. And I think that sort of comes with age. I think every kid, especially, you know, like later teens, early 20s, like you're just constantly out looking for, you know, the excitement. And what I realized is, like, the more I slow down, the more enjoyable it all is. You know, I'm not missing anything. In fact, the faster I go and the more I'm searching for something, the more beautiful stuff I miss on the way. And yeah, just slow down. It doesn't all have to happen.
There are so many studies in noetic science that prove that the more you put into a day does not make you more successful or happier.
Right.
Sometimes it's a lot less if you do half, because you could actually be more creative. So when you're putting something out, you're putting the great stuff out, not a bunch of junk.
Yeah, exactly.
You're producing.
Right.
You don't have time to meditate on it, or what am I doing, or what direction, or to appreciate.
Right. And I think we put that on ourselves, you know, a lot. I think especially in this country, you know, the thought is that the more you do, the better you are. You know, and
or lazy. Look what this person's doing. Why are you lazy?
Exactly.
Why aren't you making this amount of money? Or why don't you have
exactly? Why aren't you doing all these things?
Yes.
You know, like I mean,
especially in Los Angeles.
Oh, especially, and you know, I have moments where I'm like, oh, I'm going to take a half-hour nap, and I'm like, I can't take a nap. There's so much to do, you know. And it's like I just need to, like, shut myself down sometimes and just remember to rest, and, like, you know, the world is not revolving around me and what I'm doing, and, like, everything's not going to stop if I just hold on for a minute, you know. And that's
a huge insight too.
Oh yeah, like,
when
you know,
really get that, not just say the words, but when you really get that.
Yeah.
If I have a sick day, or even pretend it's a sick day, the world will survive.
Yeah, exactly.
My career will not be dead.
Exactly. You know, I put that pressure on myself all the time. Like, oh, you know, I've got to show up for work, or I've got to show up for this, or, you know, my kids need this, or my, you know. And what I realize is I'm just further depleting myself, and then I have nothing available to give. You know, the more I continually, like, kind of pump myself for energy, you know, eventually I'm going to run out and I get really sick, or I just am completely like off my rocker, cranky and angry and, you know, short fused. And, you know, I've gotten better now at sort of sensing with myself. I've really gotten in touch with how I feel and how my body feels, how my mind feels. And, you know, I can sense those moments now where I kind of go, something's off, and I need to stop, I need to slow down, I need to refocus. Because I know if I can get, you know, too far in one direction or another, I really lose sort of my, you know, my goal of like a peaceable life.
Well, what advice would you give to mothers or parents that their children want to be in showbiz?
You know, I would say that it's not as bad as you read, and it's not as good as you think it will be. You know,
would you tell them to be stage moms, to be protective, or would you?
You know, my mom was on set with me all the time. She was always present, she was always there, but she was never pushy and she was never obnoxious or demanding. But I knew my mom was there. I knew that I had someone there looking out for me. And, you know, like I said, we also had amazing, like, on-set teachers.
But that made you feel good, having your mom regardless of...
Yeah, having my mom there, you know, there was a safety in that. But the problem is that there are parents out there that get their kids involved in this, that their children's safety isn't the priority. You know, the fame is the priority. And, you know, fame isn't everything. It's not, you know, it comes and it goes. And that was, like I said, when, you know, my mom would tell me all the time when I was young, you know, remember, this too will end. And then who are you? You know, and that's something that I've sort of carried with me throughout my life. There was a portion of my life where that was a huge fear of, like, oh my God, this is going to end. Now what? You know, and as I've gotten older, what I've realized is, you know, this all will end. But who am I? You know what I mean? All of the, you know, the famous stuff will end. Money will end. Money comes and goes. People come and go. All of that. But who am I?
Who are you?
Oh, who am I? You know, today I'm a mom. I'm a friend. I am someone who enjoys I mean, I wake up and I enjoy my life. I enjoy my days. I enjoy the good moments and the bad.
How do you structure your days?
I work. I actually work in drug and alcohol treatment. So it's, you know, I get up and I go to work, but I have my kids, I share custody with their dads. So, you know, a couple days a week I don't have them, and then the other days I do, and I get them up and get them to school, which is usually, you know, sort of a controlled chaos. You know, trying to get two little ones to brush their teeth and eat their breakfast and put on clothes and pants and, you know, not scream at each other, you know, all within like a 40-minute period is rough.
Yes, but, I understand.
You know, yeah, and you're like, come on, we've got to go, we're going to be late. But, you know, I start my day with my kids, and we get out the door, we get to school, I go to work. You know, I try and have, you know, dinner with friends or you know, some sort of like time with people that I know are supportive of, you know, my journey. Sometime in the day, phone calls or whatever. And then, you know, I go home and I try and relax and just enjoy the end of my day.
Do you teach your children meditation?
I do. My kids actually love meditation.
Wonderful.
I have these like Tibetan singing bowl, like meditation music on my phone, and you know, I listen to that before I go to sleep, and my kids will come in and say, "Mommy, can you put on the meditation music?" You know, or sometimes we'll sit and meditate with like a candle or something and sit there, and they love to do that. And
what a great gift you're giving them at such a young age.
It is. It's great. I try and, you know, especially my older one, she kind of, she's, you know, I am a person, I'm a little more even-tempered. I'm pretty, you know, pretty mellow with most things. My older daughter tends to kind of, you know, get angry real quick or get upset really quickly. And so I think like my biggest lesson with her is just teaching her to sort of slow down a little bit and, you know, take a deep breath, and is this really something that, you know, you want to get upset over, you know, and
do you see a lot of yourself in your kids?
I do, for sure. Yeah, I do for sure. And interestingly enough, the things that frustrate me probably the most in them are the things in myself, you know, just like all people that you come into contact with, the things often in the other person that frustrate you the most are the things that you don't want to recognize in yourself, and you kind of go, oh, that, you know, especially with your kids, you kind of go, oh, why do you do that? And you're like, oh God, I do that too. You know what I mean? And just trying to kind of learn from them and learn, you know, I think that our kids are our biggest teachers a lot of the time.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to parents in raising children, like based on your parents too, because you obviously have such a great relationship? What did they do right or wrong, and what did you take from them? Or because it's so tricky, especially in LA, especially if they want to be an entertainment business, right. And how do you ground them and really help them? Meditation is one of the things you mentioned, but
you know, meditation,
have a sense of self.